What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. This young player for the Clippers, I would say his upside has definitely always been promising from what I've seen so far out of his young career. But at the same time, I will say his success and, his growth will be crucial for the Clippers going forward. Now, you can say about many players or a few players on the Clippers, especially. But in particular, this player here has a lot of upside along with those other young players on the team. But this one here specifically has upside on both sides of the court, unlike some of the other players on the Clippers. And the player I'm talking about is Terrence Mann. When I look at Terrence Mann, I think of a player that has some type of abilities that Kawhi Leonard has. Not saying he's Kawhi Leonard by any means, because he's not. But what I'm saying is he plays hard on the defensive end, and he's really good defensively too. I've seen him actually, play man defense against defenders and, lock them up pretty well. He can't lock them up as good as Kawhi Leonard can, or somebody of that caliber of Kawhi Leonard, but he can lock them up to the point where he can take away one or two possessions from a player in regard to either getting a steal, maybe causing a turnover, or even blocking some shots. I mean, I've actually seen him block a few shots as well. Actually, when he was playing, man defense on a defender, I've seen him actually, trail a player all the way to the basket and, end up getting a block, before that player was ever able to get off the layup or even maybe pull up for a mid-range or a small jump shot, or a close a jump shot close to the rim, I should say. I've seen him do that many times before. And, I saw a lot, or I saw quite a few times last season when they played without Kawhi and PG for most of the season. He got, substantial minutes along with others, along with Luke Kennard and a few others, Amir Coffey, other young players, Brandon Boston, who, played well as well in the absence of those two-star players. So, I've actually seen Terrence Mann, play well on both sides of the floor. And we all remember what he did in the Utah series, having that 39-point outing that really, a career high for him that broke him out in regards to people speaking about him more and what his upside could be playing in that type of environment in the playoffs and being able to deliver at that time. Because I personally thought if it wasn't for Terrence Mann, I don't really know if the Clippers would have won that series, because Terrence Mann put up huge numbers in that game. There was one game, and he did play, fairly well the other games, the minutes that he was given, but he played a very huge role in that game 6 against Utah that put him away. Utah was up by like 20 plus points, like 25 points also. So, his 39 points was a part of a Clippers comeback against a team that was up 25 points on them. And the Clippers end up winning, and it took them to the next series, because I just thought Paul George, it didn't have nothing left, from what I was seeing. Paul George was missing all over the place. He wasn't, in rhythm. And, I've seen that from Paul George a lot, where it's certain games where, he just, it happens to every player. It's not just him. It happens to every player, not, knocking on Paul George or anything, but he just didn't have it that game. And I don't know if he would have had it for that game 7. Who knows? We will never know that. But the ending result was the Clippers won that series. They won that game 6, and they went on to face the Phoenix Suns, where ultimately, or unfortunately, they lost in 6 games because they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. If they had Kawhi Leonard, they would have went to the championship and won it. I know the Clippers would have beat the Bucks, because I just feel like Kawhi definitely, has, Giannis's number. I feel like, Kawhi is one of the only players I think that can really actually guard Giannis pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's hard to guard Giannis. But I mean, if you can stop him a few possessions, that's great. But nevertheless, of that, I will say this: the Clippers, have a lot of interest in building up Terrence Mann, and as they should, because I think him and Luke Kennard really, for the most part, I look at those two as their future. Now, I don't know if both of them will be there, at the end of next year. I believe they will. I feel more confident in Terrence Mann being there than Luke Kennard, only because Luke Kennard is looked at as more of a shooter than anything else, and that's more or less what he promotes from his game, is just being a great shooter and guy that stretch the floor. floor, but I think he's also underrated in other areas as far as putting the ball on the floor, getting to the basket. And on top of that, I think he's underrated in regards to, getting nasty and dirty a little bit on defense, getting his hands dirty on defense. I think he's a little underrated there too. And I think he'll only get better with time as well. So me personally, if I were the Clippers, I would definitely find a way to keep both of those players because they kind of sort of started together, ascending together on this team. And I feel like both of them is a part of the culture, of course. So you definitely don't want to break that culture that they have, built with the other players on the team, along with each other and, coaches as well. So that's my take on that. But specifically, Terrence Mann, though, there's a lot of upside for him because, as I said, if you could play both sides of the court, there's definitely a lot of upside for you. Now, whether he becomes a superstar player or a star player in the league or something like that, or stays a role player as he is now, who knows what will come of that. But I mean, you have to understand, he was like the 48th pick coming out the draft in 2019, and being that far back in the picks there, usually players like that don't even really see the floor. Usually they're pretty much like mascots or something like that, for a team on the sideline. And they play periodically here and there, but they don't get enough run the way Terrence Mann gets with the Clippers. So, I mean, Terrence Mann's in a really great position. He fell into a great position, with the Clippers being on a team like this with a great player like Kawhi who can, make a difference on both ends of the court. And you can learn a lot from him because he's won championships. I'm not saying he can't learn from Paul George because he can learn from PG too. PG been in the league, about, 10 plus years as well. So, you got a lot of not only talent on that team, but you got a lot of wisdom and championship experience on that team. And, might I add, the coach, Ty Lue, was a champion as a player and a coach, so he's won championships on both sides of the basketball in regards to being a player and a coach. So, I mean, it's like, his ideas, his thoughts, his perspective, and his viewpoint of, playing the game, he can provide even more knowledge to a player like Terrence Mann as long as the opportunity is given. And that's the thing. I know Ty Lue is going to give Terrence Mann the opportunity to be who he needs to be because he sees a lot of upside in him just as well as everybody else. The crazy thing with the Clippers is they have so much talent on that team. I mean, young talent at that. Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, Brandon Boston, who I think is possibly could be the best young player, on that team going forward if they keep him and everything like that, along with Amir Coffey. I don't want to leave him out because that dude really surprised a lot of people last year in regards to how he played and putting up, some massive numbers, for him being basically like, a bottom of the bench guy. He put up some massive numbers. He had a few 30-point games and he really, played at a high level for somebody who had, who nobody really expected anything out of. So, I mean, they got some really good young talented players on there, Jason Preston, a few others, but, they really have some young talented youth on there that I think that definitely needs to be looked after or, looked upon going forward, because I think they can definitely, make a name for themselves in the NBA just by bettering their game and understanding the process and listening to Ty Lue, along with, if they had the opportunity to win a championship, which they definitely have an opportunity this year if everybody stays healthy. So sky's the limit for Terrence Mann and all the other young players on the Clippers, because they have an opportunity to play with all this great talent. You got Kawhi, PG, John Wall, Reggie Jackson, been in the league for years, Marcus Morris. I mean, they're just they all have opportunity to grow. And then, you look at Nicholas Batum. He's been in the league a long time, a great veteran player who can, definitely put his arm around one of those players, if not all of them, and show them how to be a professional and play the game at a high level and do what's required of you to win. They definitely have a lot of, spirited pieces around that team. And I definitely think that a player like Terrence Mann, along with the other young players, can definitely, vibe off of that as they already have and continue to vibe off it and build off of what they see other players do and ingratiate that and put that in their game and allow them to be a better player going forward when Kawhis and PGs and all them players aren't around in the future. So, I mean, the Clippers have, not only they have a championship team, but they have a team that is built to win a championship because they're well-rounded. They got youth and they got veterans who still can play at a high level, and they got youthful players who've played substantial, very crucial minutes in basketball games last year because the superstars being out. It almost was a blessing in disguise because it gave those young players more experience and it gave them more knowledge of situational basketball, even though they didn't make the playoffs. But still, it was still a very good experience for those players. So, I mean, with that being said, I hope that they continue to learn and continue to build because what they have there is special. And it can really grow into something big for their future. And they have an opportunity to win a championship, as I said. So, Terrence Mann, just continue to build, continue to learn, continue to stay hungry, and continue to, just better your game every day and be as available as you can because there's the sky's the limit is for you. And I really hope that, Terrence Mann himself really takes it to another level because I definitely see an opportunity where he can do that if he just, keeps at it and work hard at it because he has talent, no doubt about that there. He just has to be put in the right position, which I believe he's definitely has opportunity with the Clippers because of Ty Lue. And I definitely think that he'll definitely build on top of what he has and take it as high as he can going forward. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.